Today, we become legends.
Hey, my name's Inter, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, then be sure to subscribe for all my content coming soon. Today we're going to be reviewing some more SMITEFIRE builds. This is, I believe, episode 3 of the SMITEFIRE builds. You guys seem to really enjoy it when I do these, and I enjoy making them myself. I can just sit down, review some things. They don't take too much effort, not too much editing, and they're fun to make, and they do well. You guys enjoy them, so why not? So we're going to be doing some more. We're obviously getting into some Season 8 builds now. Season 8 is well and truly in full swing, and some people are coming out with some guides and stuff. We're going to be doing some from the recently updated guides. I know for the previous videos in this series, I was doing them from, I believe, the top rated guides, so they were generally pretty good, but now we're going to dive into the real belly of the beast and see if any of these guides on like the most recently updated ones are any good. I'll be reviewing all the ones that have a rating, so the ones that haven't been viewed by enough people to be given a rating, I won't bother with, but these ones down here that like have been given ratings, I'll go for these ones. So we'll start with this complete King Arthur Conquest guide. I'm not really a King Arthur main, but I'm the closest you're going to get to a King Arthur main. He's one of my top gods, for sure. Obviously, I'm a solo main. Arthur's one of my favourite solos, so I should be able to critique this one quite well. So this one's got 9.4 rating, so 94% basically equivalent, 36,000 views, so quite a lot of people have looked at this for their King Arthur. The star, bluestone pendant, chalice, and 2 health pots. This is fine. This is perfectly fine. There's options you can go here. You could go more health pots if you feel you need more health pots in a matchup. You could go multi-pots if you want a little bit of extra mana regen and be able to double stack them for the 15 health per second. But other than like changes to potion layout, which are more so personal preference, the chalice and the bluestone are essential. It's just a matter of what you get in this second potion slot. So pretty good on the starter build. We have an Oni variation build, Bluestone, Reinforced, Sonic Gaia, Glad Shield, Oni Hunters, Void Shield, Pridwin. This is good, I like this a lot. This is probably just what I would go on Arthur. Obviously, I think if you're in a matchup where you don't need the Gaia, if there's no knock-up in the matchup, the Gaia isn't amazing. You can still go for it, and it's a very safe option. But often if it's like a physical matchup where they have no knock-ups, I will go for something like Breastplate here because it works really well with the Glad Shield. But if you do go Breastplate, don't get Pridwin because you're going to lock yourself out of cooldown reduction options. Breastplate plus Glad Shield is 30%, so if you're getting Pridwin, you're overcapping already, and then once you get Power Potion, you're overcapping immensely. So if you do go for a Breastplate, you don't want Pridwin in the build. But any matchup where you can go Gaia is very good. And the rest of the build is great. Void Shield super good for Arthur, get that extra damage. Obviously Glad Shield really good, that's an essential in every Arthur build. Pridwin super good as well. If you're not getting Breastplate, definitely get Pridwin in your build for sure. And Oni's good too. Often as Arthur, you're diving into the backline trying to hit multiple people with your abilities, get a bunch of Glad procs, get a bunch of energy built to get your ults up and stuff like that. So having an Oni Hunter's Gap, 9% mitigation, always going to be good. And I don't know if it's an issue with the site or if he's just not put the upgrade here, but he hasn't put a Bluestone upgrade. You go Bluestone Brooch on Arthur, you definitely don't go a Corrupted Bluestone. He has a Shifters variation build, which basically replaces the Onis with a Shifters. That's fine. I think Shifters in the new season is very good, so going for that is totally fine option, especially if you need a little more phys defense, because it does skew a little bit more towards physical, but it does have both. When you're below 75% health, it has 40 magical, 65 physical, so it's still a pretty balanced item there, but does skew more towards the physical. Relics, Blink Beads, you definitely want Blink. Beads, though, is not always what you want. He's put this here as if like this is what you go every game. You don't go Beads every game on Arthur. Sometimes, if you feel like you're going to get CC'd down really hard and you're going to need the Beads, you can go for Beads. I'm not saying it's not an option, but for the most part, I tend to not need them. I would go like Thorns, I would go Shell, something like that. More of like a solo lane Relic. You don't usually need Beads unless you feel like you're going to get like mega CC'd. Leveling order. This is fine. You can also take the 3 at level 2 and the 2 at level 3 if you want to. Taking the 3 gives you better wave clear, taking the 2 gives you better like fight potential at level 2. And then he's got some other stuff here, but usually for these I tend to just review the builds, because if I was reviewing the entire guide I would only be able to do like 1 per video, and I want to get to multiple guides and things like that. But overall this is really, really good. This is, I mean, the Relics could do with a little bit of a touch up. Add some additional options there, but the build's very good. Could have mentioned a couple of other options, but if you just need a starting build for Arthur, these will work very well. Leveling order also totally fine. I don't know if you could put a note under here about the leveling the 2 and the 3 at level 2 and 3 sort of thing, but overall very good. I'll give this Arthur guide like a 9.5 out of 10, which is roughly in line with what the rating it has actually. Let's move on to the Impaler, Season 8 and her ADC build guide. So I've not played too much ADC in Season 8, but as far as I can tell, the builds haven't changed too much. It's more so just like depending on what starter item you're going to get. Oh, you recommend Hunter's Cowl. Kind of interesting. I don't think Hunter's Cowl is the way to go necessarily. I think it's more of sort of a niche item, or maybe even something you build on some solo laners. I don't think it's really an ADC item, but like I said, I've not played too much ADC this season, so if I'm wrong about that, then let me know down below if you think Hunter's Cowl is actually the way to go. So starting build, Leather Cowl, Morning Star, Health Potions, Multi-Potions, Leather Cowl, Transcendence, Ninja's Habit, RC, Rage, Fail Not. Presumably you sell boots for like a Deathbringer or a Wind Demon or Poison Star or something like that, some more crit. Full build with level 20 starter. Yeah, so he recommends the Hunter's Cowl upgrade. I think if you are going to go for a Cowl on an ADC, you definitely do want Hunter's Cowl. Full build without boots. Oh, he goes Dominance there. I think you probably want an additional crit item here, because you have Rage and Fail Not, which work really well with high crit chance, but then you probably want like something else to go with that, I would say. I think going like a third crit item here could be good. I mean, you don't really have a lot of pen. I guess that's the thought process behind the Dominance. You don't have like an Abo or an Executioner in here at all. Your only pen is coming from Fail Not. But yeah, it's just a general like flaw with the build. For me, I don't like Transcendence and her. I'm more of a Devos and her guy. I think Devos will outtrade Transcendence. Like if for example, if you're in an her mirror match and they're going a Trans build, you're going a Devos build, they'll outtrade you in the short term in terms of like bursting you down if you're just taking a fight and then backing off. But in the long term, if they can like heal up off of minions and camps from Devos is going to be the better option. Other than that though, the build is okay. If you were going to go Trans, this is probably the sort of build I would go for, to be honest. Crit with Trans is a bit questionable, but it can work. I think crit builds are just more popular in Season 8 than they were at the end of Season 7 compared to like kin-size builds in general, but overall the build's not too bad. Situational items, yeah, so here is what you would typically be building if you were going for like a pen build. You replace like the Trans with Devos, the Assy with like an Executioner. I think Executioner is now better than Abo after they changed that. Executioner's back to being the dominant like third item pen slot for Hunters. And then obviously you go like in place of the two crit items, kin size Oboe most likely, but also Berserker Shield is very good this season on ADCs, and Toxic Blade situational if you need it against healers. In terms of relics, I wouldn't really recommend Blink unless you're memeing, and Shell is very situational. I would only really build Shell if you're against like a Mercury or something in jungle, something that like will just nuke you in a few basic attacks. If you're just against like just the enemy ADC that's going to be basic attacking you, I don't think Shell's worth it, and you're better off with just Beat Aegis. But Shell can be okay sometimes, but in general I would just recommend Beat Aegis. Blink if you want to meme around, but I wouldn't really recommend Blink. Okay, yeah, down here he's got one where you replace the final item with the Deathbringer there. Leveling order. Yep, perfect leveling order, totally fine. For this one, I'll give it like a 7.5 maybe. Mainly because I'm not a fan of Transcendence and her, really. I much prefer Devos and her. And I think the build could be improved a little bit. So I'll give this one a 7.5. Moving on to some Wukong. Once again, I'm a solo main, so I have like quite a lot to say about solo lane guys. I'm not a huge Wukong player, but I think I do have him Diamond or something like that. I play like a little bit of Wukong. Is this built by the same guy? Because this is the exact same starting build as the King Arthur one, but I do still agree with it. Bluestone is the way to go on Wukong, just like Mage's Blessing was the way to go on him prior to the Blessing changes. And then Chalice of Healing, 2 health potions. As I said on the Arthur one, you can swap these out for multis, or you can buy more health potions depending on what you think you'll need in the laning phase. It has a Glad Shield variation, Bluestone Pendant, Warrior Tabby, Soul Eater, Shifter Shield, Gladiator Shield, and Chile Heartseeker. And then same thing, but you're replacing Glad Shield with Blackthorn. I think Blackthorn's amazing, to be honest. It looks like it was made by the same guy because he's gone Blink Beads again, so a lot of the criticisms with this one will probably be the same as with the Arthur one. The build itself, I think, is pretty good. And Chile could be replaced with things, you know, it could be replaced with Onis if you want to go more tanky, it could be replaced with Runic Shield if you want to have some power reduction. But in general, you just want some kind of decent magical defense here. Ideally a Bruiser item like Anchile or Runic Shield, because Wukong works better with sort of Bruiser and damage builds because of how incredibly safe he is. He could just get around and like dodge things, get out of situations that you really shouldn't get out of with his bird and his ultimate and stuff like that, so you can afford going more damage on Wukong. That's why this kind of a build with like Soul Eater first item, you can get away with it where you can't on a lot of other solo laners. The Soul Eater I like a lot. The Soul Eater on Wukong is it's become like really popular in that last season or so, and I like it a lot. Shifter Shield, once again, this is a lot stronger in Season 8 than it was in Season 7. I think it's going to be a staple in a lot of solo lane builds and probably some jungle builds also. The Glad Shield, I don't like a huge amount because you don't have a lot of procs, but the thing with Glad Shield is that it still has decent sort of stats just on a baseline. Like, look at those stats, they're quite good for the cost, and the passive has like a 15 base damage it's not only based on protections, it's 15 plus 25% of your protections, so it can still be good even if you don't have a massive amount of protections. But obviously it's not being fully utilized in this build really, because you have like 2-3 full damage items. Like, what is this? Even in the best case, if you're below 75% health with Shifter's Shield, it's what? 105 prots from Shifter's Shield, 40 from that, 145, 30 from that, 175 prots, 25% of that is like 45 or something like that extra damage. So it's actually not that bad. It's like 60 extra damage on all your abilities once you're full build if you're hitting them when they're below 60% health. So really, Glad Shield in this build isn't too bad now that I've just done the math on it. It's actually still decent. It just shows the item's actually quite strong. Even if you don't build like a ton of defense, it can still be very good. Obviously, that's pre-mitigations and all that stuff, but still, I kind of like it in the build. I think I prefer it to just like a Blackthorn here. I think there's better items you could go there. And yeah, like I said on the King Arthur one, you can go beads. I don't think you need beads every game, though. I think you could go like other relics like Thorn's Shell, Curse, Frenzy, that kind of stuff. Level order is perfectly fine, yeah. Sometimes I like to level the 3 a little earlier than this, but I think the actual like optimal leveling order for him is level the 1 and the 2. I just level the 3 sometimes because I like to sort of play around the Tiger Stone. A lot of people don't expect the damage that comes out from it, but this is like the actual optimal way to level him, I think. So similar to the King Arthur guide, I'll give this one like a 9 or something, because mainly it's just like the relics could do with a bit of a touch up. Maybe even a 9.5, because I do like the build quite a lot. I think the build is pretty good. Also, you should be showing what variant of Bluestone you want. It is Brooch once again for Wukong, but you really should be showing in these like full builds which star item option you actually want. I saw on that Anher guide that you can show the full upgrades, so you should be showing that really. So I'll give this like a 9. Cucullin guide, we'll skip the Cucullin guide because we've done quite a lot of solo lane ones. Let's try this Baron one. Alright, so we have Conduit Gem, Boots, Baron's Brew, 3 health potions. That's pretty fine. I think Conduit Gem, at least how it is right now, maybe this will change next patch, but at least how it is right now, it's insanely strong, and even in solo, I think it's probably worth getting. The other option on Baron in solo would be like Warrior's Axe, I guess. You can't really get anything else. It'd probably just be Warrior's Axe. I think Conduit Gem is better than Warrior's Axe for the Baron solo, just like keep up in clear and stuff. He goes for Gem of Focus. I do like Gem of Focus a lot. Baron's 1 is a fairly low cooldown, but his 2 and 3 are quite high cooldown, so I'm not sure how amazing this is really. But going the Archmage's Gem makes no sense, because you're going like a bruiser-ish build with like not too much power in it, so I guess that's why you went Gem of Focus. It's the only really viable upgrade, so this is probably pretty fine. He goes Cooldown Boots, Lotus Crown, Pridwin, Mantle, Rod of Tahuti, Ethereal Staff, so you are overcapping cooldown once you get a power potion, but it's not a huge deal. Often you'll buy a power potion, and then like a little bit later you'll sell your boots for something with no cooldown, so when you have cooldown boots, overcapping with power potion isn't so bad, because you're only overcapping for like 5 or 10 minutes before you sell your boots after getting power potion, so it's not that bad. The build, Lotus Crown really good for Baron solo, Ethereal Staff also an insanely good item for Mage solos and Guardian solos. Super underrated item. This is insanely powerful. It should be in like all your Guardian and Mage solo builds. Mantle, obviously staple item for a lot of builds, very strong. Rod of Tahuti got the buffs recently, super good. So this build is just like a pile of really good items for Baron. The build order can obviously change a lot and stuff. Pridwin I don't think is necessary on Baron really. I know that like you're ulting and then once the mitigations ends maybe you want a shield or something like that, but typically I don't think you're going to need the Pridwin on Baron. I think you could go something else here. Level order, yeah, you level the 2 when you're playing solo and Baron because you want the heal and stuff like that. And other than that, yeah, the level order's totally fine. I think, yeah, he has like extended build options down here. So core items for solo. I wouldn't say Stone of Binding is a core item for Baron. He only triggers it on his 3, and if you miss the 3, it's a completely worthless item. I don't think it's really that good. I know if it triggers on his ult, but I'm counting like base kits. If you're only triggering Stone of Binding with your ult, it's not worth getting anyway. Lotus Crown, very good. I wouldn't really recommend Lifesteal Boots. I think cooldown boots are the better choice for Baron. Offensive situationals, I wouldn't recommend Soul Reaver. E-Staff is just way better than Soul Reaver in almost every situation now, especially on solo learners. Spear of the Magus is okay, but not amazing. Divine Ruin, obviously, if you're against a healer and your mid laner's not going to be getting it, you can get Divine Ruin. But usually, if your mid laner's a mage, they'll be getting Divine, so. Example build against Magical Solo, Physical Jungler. Okay, I feel like if you're against a Magical Solo, you probably want to move the Void Stone up a bit, like maybe in place of the Stone of Binding or something like that. Because you're really not getting magical defense online until way too late. I know this comes with a little bit of magical defense, but Like when you're against a magical solo, even in a magical solo physical jungler, you want to be building primarily around the enemy solo laner and secondarily around the enemy jungler. You don't want to be, because this is mostly aimed at physical defense, and like, yeah, the jungler may gank you, but you want lane defense opponent. You want defense against your lane opponent before you want defense against your jungler. Relics, teleport, beads. I don't think you need blink on Baron. Blink doesn't play amazingly on Baron. I mean, you can blink 3, I guess, but it's not that great. Blink if you want a meme, I guess. Teleport is okay if you feel like you're going to be losing the laning phase and you're going to need a quick way back to lane, or if you're a solo lane noob. If you're bad at solo, I highly recommend just getting teleport, because if you make a mistake, you get poked out or something, you lose a couple of bad trades, you can TP back every like 3 minutes. Beads is totally fine. On Baron, especially with the build that he went for, he's a little bit squishier than you would typically be on a solo laner, so I think Beads is fine, because Baron also has like fairly limited safety options. Thorn's good also. Thorn's good on like most solo laners. And then defensive situationals, yeah, I think Pridwin should be a situational, really. He's put it in like the core build for a lot of his builds. I don't think Pridwin's that good. Breastplate is pretty good. I like Breastplate a lot. Cooldown super good for Baron. MP5 pretty good for Baron. Just a really good like physical defense option. If you do want to go like leaning on more tanky, you can go some of these other ones like Oni Hunters or Pestilence or something like that. But yeah, overall not too bad of a build. The Pridwin I probably wouldn't go for, but the rest of this build is generally quite good. The build order is a little bit weird, and the fact that he suggested down here that you go Stone of Binding and delay the Void Stone so much against a magical solo probably isn't right. So I'll give this one like an 8 out of 10. It was okay, but not amazing. Alright, we've had a lot of fairly good guides here, so I'm going to go for one that's rated 2.6 here, just because, you know, you want to get the bad with the good. This site isn't all good, and it isn't all bad either. It's a mix. So let's have a look at this one. Oh god. Please tell me he's trolling. Oh no. No, what is this? This is bad. This is bad. Don't go crit on Thanatos. Bad idea. Don't go Assy on Thanatos. Bad idea. I mean, Brawlers and Bloodforge are the only 2 good items here. Like, Brawlers if you're against a healer, and then Bloodforge is like actually really good on Thanatos. Why do you have Chalices? Unless you're playing Thanos solo, never buy Chalices, and never buy Chalice of Mana ever, especially on Thanatos. He specifically uses health to cast his abilities, and so his mana costs are lower than usual, so you definitely don't need a Chalice of Mana on Thanatos. At the most, you need a Chalice of Mana on like some healers like hell, but no, you definitely don't want that. I don't know how this is a starter build, considering this costs like 2,300 gold, you start with 1,500. Don't start with Frenzy, you're going to get CC'd once and immediately die. Obviously, the Relics are terrible. I don't even think you want Frenzy anyway, and you definitely don't want Meditation Cloak. Like, Beads Blink, please. More crit. Serrated Edge is okay. Solitor is okay. Heartseeker's good. Devos, just don't, please. Just don't. Leveling Order. Okay, the Leveling Order is good. That's one good thing about this guide. The rest of it is absolutely hurts my eyes. But the leveling order is okay, I guess. I don't even know what this is for. It doesn't say if it's like an arena build or if it's supposed to be a conquest build. I mean, based on the fact that there's no starter item, I don't know. Like, starter items are like the best items in the game. You should probably be picking those up. I mean, I can only rate this thing like a 1 out of 10. This is horrendous. If you build this in a game, especially in this order, you're not going to have a fun time whatsoever. This is not going to help a new player, ever. About 3 of these items that he's listed are actually good on Thanatos. The rest are garbage. The relics are garbage. I'm only giving it a 1 because the level order is, like, fine. You know, if you take the level order, you'll do alright, but yeah, not the best. Not SMITEFIRE's proudest moment on this one, boys. How to actually play Pele Masters Jungle 8.0 guide. It has a 10 out of 10 rating by a supposed Masters player, so presumably this should be pretty good. Let's have a look. He goes, Bumba's Dagger combat boots. That's interesting. This is something I've been looking at trying out myself, actually, because some starter items are 600 gold and you can afford tier 2 boots with them, and it's kind of interesting. It's risky, though. I know you're Pele, and like, you do have a little bit of healing if you trigger your passive and stuff, but going in with absolutely no sustain and relying completely on Bumba's Dagger is very risky in the early game. If you make a mistake and you get poked out, like in the mid lane skirmish at the start of the game or something, you're going to have to back super early. And I know you can back a bit early because you only need 650 for boots, but it's a very risky start, this. I would probably, if I was him, put this as like an optional start and do a normal start with like Boombas and a tier 1 item and potions. Core items, Warriors, Harvey, Crusher, Arendite, perfectly fine. Arendite is insanely good on Pele. Crusher is just good on like most junglers. Bruiser endgame, Shifters, Mantle, Boombas, Hammer, totally fine. I think either of Shifters or Mantle, I probably won't go both because you do want a bit more damage, but either of these as like a late game item in your build if you do want to be a bit tankier, these are the 2 options I would go for. And Boombas Hammer is definitely the upgrade here. I don't think the other upgrade from Boombas Dagger, I forget what it's called, but I don't, oh, it's Boombas Spear, right? I think it's Boombas Spear. I wouldn't ever go Boombas Spear. The Hammer is just like so much better. It has 20% cooldown, so you have to watch your cooldown a little bit. Like, for example, if you went Boombas Hammer, Arendite, Mantle, that's your full cooldown. You can't build anything else. And you also can't build Boombas Hammer with Jotuns, or that completely locks out your cooldown for the rest of your build, which is really not a good thing. So you have to be a little careful, because this thing has 20% cooldown, but it's a really good item, and much better than Boombas Spear, for sure. Normal Burst endgame. Yeah, it's totally fine. Heartseeker's a really good item. It should probably be in most of your Assassin builds, I think. Selling Boots, any of those, totally fine. Those are all 3 like really good late game items. Situationals, yeah, Brawlers against Healers, Magi's if you feel like you're getting heavily focused down by CC, Mantle if you need some defense. Titans, yeah, sure. I wouldn't really recommend Titans even if the enemy team has a lot of tanks. It's just not an amazing item, to be honest, but I guess if like they have a triple tank team or you're really struggling to deal with tanks, you can get this. Bloodforge, yeah, if you're getting a lot of kills sustainably. Jotuns, if you're going Boombas, no, because that completely locks out your cooldown. If you were going some kind of different starter item, which he hasn't mentioned here, then yeah, Jotuns could be okay. I think with the buff in Season 8, it's quite a good item, but you can't fit it in a Boombas Hammer build, so don't do that. And then Anchile, yeah, it's okay. If you really want to deal with mages, you can go this, but typically in like a jungle build, like a Pele, for example, you only have room for like 1 defense item in your build, which is usually going to be a mixed defense item, so you can have defense against both types. If you're buying Anchile, you're putting yourself at a big risk of just getting blown up by physicals. Relics, Beads, Blink, yeah, you don't want anything else really. Beads, Blink for junglers all the time. Leveling order, yeah, you level the 3 first, sorry, for the bonus clear, then level the 1, then the 2, then 3. Yep, perfect leveling order. And yeah, I think this one's very good. I think I'm personally a big fan of Eye of the Jungle as like a starter item. I think it's quite good, but Boombas Hammer also really good. You just have to watch your cooldown reduction options. And yeah, I believe this guy's a Masters player. I believe it. This build is very good. Got a lot of good options. I would like to see just like a full build example, because I know a lot of people come to SMITEFIRE not to like look at, oh, these are my core items, these are my options for burst endgame, these are my situational items. A lot of people come to these builds just looking for a full 6 item build that they can use to get started with. So I would like to see one of those, because there isn't one here, really. So yeah, full 6 item build for this will be something like Warrior Tabi, Crusher, Arendite into like maybe Shifters, Heartseeker, Boombas Hammer, something like that. And then you could sell your boots for whatever, really. But generally, I think including a good full 6 item build is going to be useful for a lot of the new players that come to this site. So that takes down the score a little bit. I'd say I'd give this like a 9.5 because the build is extremely good, and if you know a little bit about the game and you know how to piece together a build from information like this, it's going to be a near perfect build. I like this a lot. But I think including just a nice 6 item build for new players that don't know how to just like pick these items that are situational and know when to build what, just having like a nice 6 item build for them will be useful. So I'll give this one like a 9.5. If it had a full 6 item build, I would completely agree with this 10 out of 10 score. But yeah, I think we'll end this one on a high. I could have a look down for further ones, but I'm recording for like 27 minutes now, so by the time I cut this down, it'll probably be something like a 20-minute video, which is about how long I like to keep these SMITEFIRE builds. Yeah, if you want to see more of these, then definitely let me know. I can do more sort of SMITEFIRE ratings, I can do Smite Guru ratings, or any other sites you have that you want me to look at the builds for, or like tier list ratings, anything like that. These kind of videos are really fun, as I said at the intro of the video. So if you do want to see more of these, definitely let me know, and let me know what you thought about all the builds in this one and stuff like that. And I'll catch you guys later. Have a great day, and peace out, you nerds.